Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you guys doing? So I saw this thread. I thought it looked interesting. Are Germans avoiding traveling to the US right now? It was between this and is the sky blue? I thought this one sounded slightly more interesting. I mean, I do want to know a genuine, like, read some genuine answers from some actual Germans who may or may not have decided to cancel plans, traveling to the US, that type of thing. The polemics aside, assuming that means politics, there is serious evidence of a sustained decrease in travel to the U.S. What is this, an airline? To be honest, I don't know this. This airline is looking to cut group-wide connections to the U.S. massively from February next year, like reducing New York City flights by greater than 50%, and you can currently get flights over there for cut rate prices at short notice. Wow, I mean, that's when you know it's true, because money never lies. You know, they're not just going to cut rates for no reason. That just proves the demand is low. And it typically also means, especially for something like airlines, where that capacity could be shifted elsewhere, that the demand crashed very quickly. So they had those flights planned, presumably, but they're not able to book them out. It's so funny reading this stuff as an American, because, like, I read that, and that's bad, right? That's my impression. And the first comment's, good to hear. Good to hear about the sustained decrease in travel to the U.S., but let's keep the fact that you can get deals on flights quiet. It might give people ideas to travel there because they like a discount. That's kind of a weird, for the reason I just said, you know, the prices reflect the demand. So it's kind of a weird, that's kind of like a weird conundrum. Like, if that was true, if people decided, oh, it's cheap to go to the United States right now, let's all book prices, let's all book the flights, then the prices would just go back up. So it would no longer be a discount. And by God, why would anyone want to travel to a, quote, democracy that has armed troops? You know what I don't appreciate about that? Even though I do understand. But that's kind of like, that plays into what Donald Trump has been doing as far as undermining our democracy, you know? So, I mean, for that reason, I'm not a big fan of putting democracy in quotes like that, because it kind of undermines it. It kind of implies, like, as if our elections are not real. And they are. Unfortunately, a lot of people here in America got duped. And, I mean, we could go into all that. There's also plenty of stupid people. There's a lot of people who just simply aren't paying attention, unfortunately, and see Donald Trump as just kind of like a middle finger to the establishment, which is very ironic at this point, because he's now the most corrupt establishment ever. I mean, it's like how he campaigned on drain the swamp, and Washington is now objectively the most swampy place in the world right now under the Trump administration. Just pure corruption. I guess I shouldn't say pure, but it's a lot of corruption. But he says, why would anyone want to travel to a democracy that has armed troops on the streets of its capital, masked men running about snatching people, cancel late night comedy show? Oh, the Jimmy Kimmel thing. Yeah, that is all totally embarrassing. I mean, it's totally unbelievable that that's actually true. You know, these things are not hyperbole. I don't know why I said that with like a French accent. I'm not planning on traveling there anytime soon, not because I'm afraid of ICE, though, more so because I don't want to be stuck in a country that's one false flag away from declaration of martial law. Yeah, I mean, as crazy, like Alex Jones conspiratorial as it sounds, this would be the least surprising administration, like United States administration, to ever actually launch a false flag. And of course, we have, like, the United States has a history of some false flags, so it's not like it would be the first. But it is crazy to, like, acknowledge that that's actually, like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's also so unbelievable that that's actually, like, a reason why people aren't traveling here. It's so embarrassing. For me, it was even before this entire shit show right now began. The amount of deadly weaponry in the hands of untrained, uneducated morons is terrifying. Or the big effing trucks that level my Ford Focus. It doesn't matter that I had the right of way if I get flattened. Okay, that part about the Ford Focus and the trucks is a little bit silly. Also, assuming you're from Germany, why would you Why would you try to get your Ford Focus over here into the States? Or any car. I just mean, why would you take your car with you on an international vacation? Unless you could drive there. I guess when you say international vacation to a European, you know, like to someone like in the United States, that almost always means flying a long distance, you know? To a European, it's kind of interesting. International vacation is like, you could do that on a weekend. I personally will never put my feet on U.S. soil again as long as MAGA is in power. I respect that. Out of just like principles, you know? I mean, if the current administration is hostile to your country, I wouldn't go to a country that was hostile against Americans. Just out of principle. Even if I thought I would have a great time there, I just wouldn't go there out of principle. Americans are afraid it is not going to be better in 4 years. Americans are afraid it is not going to be better in 4 years. I'm reading this, I'm trying to honestly comprehend exactly what this is trying to say. Americans are afraid it is not going to be better in 4 years. I mean, I would be afraid of that, but I'm optimistic that it will be better. I'm optimistic that MAGA, the MAGA movement will be dead. Trump is a symptom, so even if Dems win, they won't do much to better anyone's lives because the donors are all the same and set up for another fascist win. I actually disagree with this sentiment, and I've heard it before, you know, that like, Trump is just a symptom of the problems. I don't think so. I think Trump is a lot... he's like an anomaly. He's like an enigma. Trump came in, I mean, he came in at a time where the previous presidential candidates were, you know, like Mitt Romney. I mean, you probably don't know who that is, but he's extremely moderate Republican. And John McCain, who, I mean, John McCain was a war hero and, once again, quite moderate and a very likable guy. Same with Mitt Romney. Trump came in and totally, completely upended the Republican Party. Took it over, you know? And honestly, if you go all the way back to 2016 election, you know, the primaries, everybody, the whole Republican Party and establishment hated Donald Trump. They were terrified of him gaining power. So I'm just saying that, like, without Donald Trump, to call him just a symptom, I think is way underplaying it. It's almost like calling Hitler a symptom, which, I mean, I guess some people could say that too, but I don't know. Without Hitler, would the Holocaust have happened? Hard to believe. Now, obviously, Donald Trump hasn't committed a Holocaust, but what I'm saying is without Trump, would MAGA have existed? I don't think so. I mean, I'm a believer that one bad person can have a major negative impact on this planet. And same with one good person can have a major good impact on the planet. It is crazy how that, in my opinion, that's true, but I do think that's true. With that said, there is, of course, a major issue as far as campaign financing and lobbying for special interests here in the United States. But let's not pretend that, like, Obama isn't better than Trump. He's way better. So if we get someone like Obama, I'll be jumping for joy. Would love to visit the U.S. for their incredible national parks, but right now the country... I thought this was going to be sarcastic. I actually appreciate that. The national parks here in the United States are very, very beautiful. It almost makes me, like, have a sigh of relief. You know, I was just prepared to be punched in the face again. But that's actually very nice. Yes, the national parks. But right now the country is far too unstable and literally just nuts to go there. Yeah. That is totally fair. They are fantastic and many Americans are great. Thank you. I mean, you're not necessarily even talking about me, obviously, but thank you. Sometimes it is nice to read that, you know, that some people acknowledge that. It is sad that an extremist group managed to brainwash uneducated people using propaganda to stir hate and anger. Yeah, that is sad. And it's not just uneducated people is what's kind of... It's easy to write all of them off as uneducated, and of course a lot of them are, but it's also a lot of hateful people and a lot of, frankly, just rich people, you know, that... I mean, a lot of rich people are just going to vote Republican here in the United States is, United States regardless, just out of their own self-interest for like lower taxes. So you've got that cohort of people, and then you've got the hateful people, people who really hate the world. Donald Trump really speaks to those people who have a lot of hate built up in them. And then also uneducated people. And a lot of times people downplay this factor, but I think it's a major factor that needs to be acknowledged. The Democrats ran a horrible campaign, and their platform was totally stupid. A huge part of their platform was just stupid there for a while. No one was talking about universal health care, like even on the left. They weren't talking about universal health care or any issues, or housing affordability, issues that people really care about here in America, the ones that actually speak to people. Instead, it was just like, we're all going to put our pronouns. Now when you meet someone, you have to say your pronouns. And men are going to play in women's sports. And I don't even care what people think about those issues. What I'm saying is that the average American voter, that's not what they wanted to hear. That's not what they needed to hear. And they were frankly sick of it, especially men. Like the anti-male rhetoric was so dumb. It turned a lot of young men into it filled them with hate, against the Democrat Party, who clearly hated them, or at least didn't do a good job saying they didn't hate them. As far as being a straight white male in America, it's like, it was pretty easy to be convinced the Democrats hate you. And so what do? You say, okay, you hate me, well then I hate you, and so I'm MAGA. To be honest, I consider the USA a totalitarian country by now. Won't visit, not even for a business trip. Wow. I mean, let's be honest, in a totalitarian country, I probably wouldn't be able to come on here and say, fuck you, Donald Trump, you sack of shit. I can't wait for you to be removed from office. But I do understand, if Donald Trump had it his way, this would be a totalitarian country. That's for sure. He's trying. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.